For Americans and the entire world, September 11th is a day that will never be forgotten. Exactly 2 decades ago, on the morning of September 11th, Al-Qaeda terrorists hijacked 4 commercial aeroplanes to strike some of the iconic buildings of the US. Within a few hours, 2 of the hijacked planes flew into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York. The third one struck the west side of the Pentagon building in Washington, D.C., and the fourth one crashed into the field in Pennsylvania. Los Angeles-bound American Airlines Flight 11, carrying 92 passengers and 11 crew members, departed from Boston's Logan International Airport. According to media reports, 5 hijackers were also on board. Another flight, United Airlines Flight 175 with 65 passengers and 9 crew members on board, takes off from Logan International Airport. This plane was also headed to Los Angeles and was carrying 5 hijackers. The American Airlines flight with 92 passengers and 5 hijackers on board crashes into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The impact marks a giant hole in the building's facade. United Airlines Flight 175 with 65 passengers and 5 hijackers strikes the World Trade Center's South Tower, sparking a massive explosion. The aeroplane crashed between floors 77 and 85 of the WTC, killing all 65 people on board. The then US President George W. Bush's chief of staff informed him, who was reading a story to elementary school children in Florida, that America was under attack. Meanwhile, Flight 93 was hijacked above northern Ohio. Another Flight 77 crashes into the western side of the Pentagon building, triggering a violent fire. All 64 people on board were killed. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration orders all commercial flights in the United States to land at the nearest airport. Meanwhile, the World Trade Center, which was hit 56 minutes earlier, collapsed in a huge cloud of smoke and dust. More than 800 people were killed due to the collapse. On the other hand, Flight 93 crashes into a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, after passengers and crew members retaliated against the hijackers. The North Tower of the World Trade Center collapses an hour and 42 minutes after the plane crash. More than 1,600 people in and around the building were killed in the incident. A huge cloud of dust blankets Lower Manhattan. Hundreds of firefighters from the New York City Fire Department rushed to the World Trade Center to rescue survivors. Around 343 members of the New York City Fire Department succumbed to the 9/11 attacks while saving the lives of people. 5 stories on the western side of the Pentagon also collapsed. The mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, issued an order for the evacuation of Lower Manhattan. On the other hand, a 47-story building adjacent to Twin Towers also collapsed. The collapse of the World Trade Center caused an immense plume of toxic dust throughout Lower Manhattan. Tens and thousands of civilians reported long-term medical conditions such as respiratory disease or cancer due to the inhalation of the dust. George W. Bush addressed the nation from the White House and promised Americans that those behind the terror attack would be identified and brought to justice.